what if everything we thought we knew about Ty's story wasn't the end? Imagine this. Amy and Lindy riding through the golden fields of Heartland when they come across something that changes everything. Something that makes Amy stop in her tracks, her heart pounding. Could it really be possible? Could Ty be reaching out? From beyond the silence? Since Ty's heartbreaking departure from Heartland, fans around the world have struggled to fill the void left behind. His absence wasn't just the loss of a beloved character, it felt like the soul of the show had shifted. The connection between Ty and Amy was the emotional heartbeat of the series, built over years of triumphs, trauma, and true love. And though Amy has done her best to stay strong for Lindy, for the horses, and for Heartland, there's always been a quiet emptiness lingering in the background. A silence, the kind that doesn't just disappear over time. Season 18 showed us glimpses of Amy's growth. We saw her trying to move forward, taking on more responsibilities, pouring her energy into healing horses and raising Lindy. But even with all that strength, we could still see it. The way her eyes would wander in quiet moments, the way she'd pause when something reminded her of Ty. And Lindy, she's growing, asking questions, wanting to know more about the father she barely remembers. Amy tries to answer, but there's only so much she can say without reopening old wounds. That's where season 19 begins. With questions. With a mother and daughter searching for connection. With unresolved emotions, untold stories, and a sense that the past might not be as far away as it seemed. In this new chapter, the story takes a turn. A subtle one at first. Amy finds a box in the barn she's never seen before, tucked away behind old saddle blankets. Inside, there are photos, notes, and something that shakes her to the core. A journal. Not just any journal. Ty's. Written during his final months, the entries reveal more than memories. They hint at something deeper. Something unfinished. One page stands out. It's not dated. It's not even complete. But the words scribbled there suggest Ty had plans. Dreams for Amy and Lindy. Ideas he never had the chance to share. There's even mention of a cabin. One Amy doesn't recognize. A place Ty called the future. This one line becomes the spark that ignites Amy's curiosity and begins an emotional journey she never expected. Meanwhile, Lindy becomes more and more interested in her dad. She starts asking about his life, about their love story, and Amy finds herself opening up more than she has in years. But what starts as storytelling slowly turns into something more mysterious. Lindy begins drawing pictures. Images she claims came to her in dreams. A man standing in a field, horses running beside him. A voice calling her name. Is it just imagination, or could there be something more at play? As the emotional layers unfold, Amy feels a pull she can't explain. Something is guiding her toward closure, or maybe something greater. She decides to take a journey, bringing Lindy along. Not just for answers, but for healing. Not knowing that what they'll find could change their understanding of Ty's legacy forever. And this is only the beginning. Amy's journey with Lindy starts quietly. A road trip with no clear destination. Only a worn journal and a feeling in her gut that won't let her rest. Ty had mentioned a cabin, something he was building in secret. A place he called the future. Amy had never heard about it before, not from Ty, not from anyone. But in his journal, the entry is clear. Someday I'll bring Amy and Lindy here. When it's safe, when it's time. Safe from what? Time for what? The words keep echoing in Amy's mind as they drive through the familiar Alberta countryside. Each turn of the wheel feels like moving closer to something. Maybe not Ty himself, but the parts of him he left behind. Not just the memories, but his thoughts, his hopes, even his fears. It's almost as if Ty knew Amy would find the journal one day. Almost like he planned it. At first, Lindy treats the trip like an adventure. She's excited, laughing, curious. But as they stop by old places Ty once talked about, the trail he loved, the small vet clinic he once worked at, the quiet lake where he and Amy shared so many moments, her tone shifts. She begins to feel something too. A presence. It's hard to describe. She says she's been dreaming again. The man with the kind eyes. The voice that says, "I'm still with you." Amy listens, torn between hope and fear. She doesn't want to mislead Lindy with false promises. She doesn't want to believe in ghosts. But she also can't ignore the strange timing of everything. Every stop on their journey seems to unlock another part of Ty's past. Conversations Amy barely remembers, things he said that suddenly make sense in the context of the journal. Then, something unexpected happens. At a gas station just outside a forgotten town, Amy meets an old man who recognizes her. He says he once worked with Ty, helped him build something. He was quiet, always working on that cabin, the man says. Said it was a surprise for his girls. Said it had to be just right. Amy presses for more, her heart racing. The man gives her directions, vague, winding, deep into the backcountry. Not on any map, not in any memory. But it's enough. They follow the path, uncertain what they'll find. The journey takes them off the grid, through thick forest, across creeks, over hills that stretch far from the reach of everyday life. It's as if they've crossed into a place untouched by time. And then they see it. A small cabin, weathered, half-finished, but real. Amy steps out of the truck, her breath catching in her throat. It's exactly how Ty described it in the journal. The layout, the porch, even the carved initials on the post. A plus T inside, it's like walking into a memory, a space filled with silence but not emptiness. There are sketches on the table, drawings of Lindy as a toddler, a photo of Amy pinned to the wall, and beneath a floorboard another surprise. A second journal, this one addressed to Amy. As she opens it, her hands trembling, Lindy sits beside her, quiet but alert. Together they read Ty's words, messages written with love, with longing, and with hope. He writes about his fears, about the burden of his illness, and how he didn't want Amy or Lindy to carry the weight of watching him fade. But he also writes about faith. Faith that Amy would find this place one day, that she would know he never truly left. Amy breaks down in tears, not from grief, but from something else. Peace. For the first time in a long time, she feels him, not just in memory, not in pain, but in presence. And Lindy, she points to the window and says softly, "He's proud of us." The moment is quiet, intimate, unforgettable, and it's only a taste of what's to come, because something even more surprising is waiting. Back at Heartland, Lou finds something else hidden in the barn. Something Ty left behind that could change everything for Amy and Lindy, and maybe, just maybe, signal the beginning of a new chapter neither of them expected. Back at Heartland, life goes on, but something feels different in the air. Lou, still juggling her duties as mayor and ranch manager, has been going through the barn's storage, trying to clear out unused space for the upcoming season. That's when she finds it, an old lockbox tucked beneath a stack of rotted hay bales and dusty tack gear. It's heavy, sealed, and clearly forgotten, or maybe purposefully hidden. The lock is rusted, but Lou recognizes the engraving etched into the metal. TB, Ty Borden. Her breath catches. Could this be another piece of the puzzle? Another part of Ty's story left behind for the family? Lou doesn't open it right away. She waits, calls Amy, and when Amy and Lindy return from their emotional trip to the cabin, Lou is waiting for them in the barn. Together, the sisters pry open the box. Inside, it's like opening a time capsule. Letters, photographs, and, most shocking of all, a voice recorder. Old, but still functional. Amy holds it in her hands, stunned. She presses play. Ty's voice fills the barn. It's him. Real, raw, unfiltered. He speaks gently as if he's talking directly to Amy. He talks about love, deep, enduring love. About how he never wanted to leave, but how he couldn't let his illness define their story. He wanted to leave pieces of himself behind, not just for Amy, but for Lindy. He says, "If you're hearing this, it means you're ready. You're strong, and you're not alone." Amy collapses into Lou's arms, tears streaming down her face. Lindy, watching closely, smiles softly. She's too young to fully understand it all, but she knows it matters, that this is part of something big. But there's more. In one of the letters, Ty wrote about a project he was working on in secret during his last months. It wasn't just the cabin, it was a therapeutic ranch center, something he had hoped to build with Amy, where troubled kids could bond with horses the way he once did. He called it Second Chances. He had already filed the paperwork, found land, and even started gathering support quietly with Scott and Lisa's help. It was his dream, one he didn't live long enough to finish. And now he's left it in Amy's hands. The idea hits Amy like a wave. Second Chances isn't just a project, it's purpose, a reason to carry Ty's legacy forward, not by living in the past, but by honoring his vision for the future. A way to connect Lindy with the father she lost through something that brings healing to others. But as she begins digging into the details, she finds something else. A financial trail leading to an anonymous donor who's been quietly funding the dream in Ty's name. The deeper she digs, the more questions arise. Who's behind it? Why have they remained hidden? The mystery builds, and just when things start to settle, Amy receives a letter in the mail. No return address, just her name written in a familiar hand. Inside, there's a photo. A recent one. Ty standing beside a horse near what looks like the cabin. Amy's heart stops. She doesn't know what to believe. Is it a hoax? A cruel trick? A miracle? She compares the photo to the ones from the cabin, the journal entries, the sketches, the setting matches, the angle, even the shirt he's wearing. It was Ty's favorite, one she thought she had packed away after his funeral. Lou thinks it's fake. Tim warns her not to get her hopes up, but Amy can't let it go. Something in her soul tells her this isn't over, that Ty is still with them, not just in memory, not just in spirit, but in some way they have yet to understand. And so, the journey continues. Amy knows she has to go back to the cabin, to search deeper, to follow the trail left behind. But what she doesn't know yet is that she's not the only one looking. Amy returns to the cabin with Lindy, this time not just for reflection, but for answers. Something in that photo haunts her. The angle, the shadow, the expression on Ty's face. It isn't just a memory caught on film. It feels present. And though logic warns her to be cautious, her heart tells her there's something more here, something that hasn't been told. This time, they're not alone. Caleb offers to help. Jack insists on coming. Even Katie volunteers to watch Lindy, sensing that Amy needs space to uncover the truth. Together, Amy and Jack head deep into the woods once again, retracing their steps, examining every detail of the land surrounding the cabin. They search for hours. Then, just before sunset, Amy notices something. A narrow path, partially overgrown, leading downhill behind the cabin. It wasn't there the first time, or maybe she simply missed it. With Jack trailing closely behind, she follows it, branches snapping underfoot, the silence of the forest pressing in. The trail leads to a clearing, a second, smaller structure. Not quite a house, not quite a barn, more like a retreat, unfinished yet full of potential. And inside, they find him, not Ty, but someone who looks just like him. At first, Amy's breath catches. Her body freezes. The resemblance is uncanny. But this man isn't Ty. His name is Nathan, a distant cousin, one Ty never mentioned. He explains that he came to the area after Ty passed, drawn by the stories, by the land, and by something deeper. He found the cabin by accident, or fate, depending on how you see it, and after reading Ty's journals, some of which were scattered in the woods, weather-worn and half-buried, he chose to stay, to live simply, quietly, keeping the dream alive. Amy is stunned. Why didn't he come forward? Why not explain? Nathan says he didn't want to intrude, that he was grieving in his own way. But something about Amy and Lindy's first visit, the energy they brought, the love they left behind, stirred something in him. So he reached out, sent the photo, not to deceive, but to bring them back, to let them know the dream wasn't dead. Amy doesn't know what to say. Part of her is angry, part of her is relieved, and another part, deep down, is still holding on to a different hope. But in Nathan, she sees something important, a guardian of Ty's memory, a man who, like her, is trying to heal. Nathan hands her something, a notebook Ty had lost outside. Pages still legible, filled with more thoughts for Lindy. Stories, messages, advice for the future, a father's love preserved on paper. Amy breaks down again, not out of sadness, but out of gratitude. She now has more than memories. She has Ty's words, guiding Lindy into the future, guiding her, and Nathan offers her something else. Partnership. Help finishing second chances. He has the skills, the passion, and now the blessing of Ty's family. Back at Heartland, Amy gathers everyone: Jack, Lou, Tim, Georgie, even Quinn, who's returned after a long absence. Together, they begin building Ty's dream: a place for healing, a home for growth, a sanctuary for second chances. The season ends with Amy and Lindy standing on the porch of the cabin, now fully restored. The sun sets behind them. Lindy holds the journal close to her chest. Then she whispers, "He's here." And for the first time in a long time, Amy smiles without tears. Because whether through memory, legacy, or something unexplainable, Ty is home. The emotional threads of Heartland Season 19 pull together in a powerful way, blending mystery, healing, and the idea that love never truly dies. Ty's big return may not be the one fans imagined, but it's one that resonates with depth, meaning, and lasting impact. What do you think about Ty's legacy and the journey Amy and Lindy took this season? Could there still be more to uncover? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like this video if it moved you, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more deep dives into Heartland's most unforgettable stories. See you in the next one. Sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about what's lost, but about what remains. The love, the memories, the legacy. Ty's journey may have ended in the physical world, but Heartland reminds us that people we love never really leave us. They live on in the choices we make, in the dreams we carry, in the quiet moments when we hear their voice in the wind or see their smile in someone we love. Amy didn't just revisit Ty's memory, she rediscovered her purpose. And in doing so, she gave Lindy something more than answers. She gave her a future built not on sorrow, but on strength. This is what Heartland does best. It doesn't just tell stories, it heals. And as we look toward what could come next, we're left with one truth. Ty's presence may never be what it once was, but in the hearts of Amy, Lindy, and every fan who's walked this journey, he's never truly gone. What would you do if someone you loved left a piece of their soul behind for you to find? Let me know in the comments. If this story moved you, even just a little, leave a like. Share this with a fellow Heartland fan who still believes in love that lasts beyond goodbye. And if you want more stories that touch the soul, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's so much more to come. This has been your channel name. And in this universe of heartbreak and hope, we don't just watch stories, we feel them. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and remember, some goodbyes are just the beginning.